You're listening to the Minutes on Growth podcast, the show that brings you mindfully curated insights into relationships, spirituality, personal development, and everything in between, with your host, Tannaz Hosseinpour.
Hi, soul friends. It's Tannaz Hosseinpour, and welcome back to another short solo episode of Minutes on Growth. Next week, our Manifesting Love 2018 online program starts, and I couldn't be more excited because this is a program that pretty much encompasses so much of what I've learned about relationships, both from my own personal experience and specifically over the past decade from all that I've studied and learned, so from an academic standpoint. So since the energy and the theme of this week is love, I thought I would dedicate this episode to love as well. So, what is love? When I think of love, I think of this warm feeling inside of my body that is calm and expansive. Expansive in the sense that it gives me the courage to up-level myself, to put myself out there, to walk more confidently in the direction of my dreams, to actually dream my dreams. Perhaps because love feels supportive. And when we feel like someone has our back, that they see us, that they believe in us, that they see our potential, well, it gives us the nudge we need to believe in ourselves too, and to take inspired action from that belief. When I think of love, I think of inclusivity. I think of community and non-judgmental people around me. And honestly, I don't think we spend enough time talking about how important it is to be in close proximity to safe and caring people, because their presence can make the world of a difference in the journey of our growth and evolution. That was definitely the case for me, which I'm going to share later on. When I think of love, I think of acceptance, even when I mess up and even when I make mistakes. A love that sees and accepts my humanness, because we're all human and being imperfect is part of it, because perfection is an illusion that I wish upon no one to pursue. Love is knowing that people will extend grace and forgiveness to us when we mess up, and we too will extend the same to others. When I think of love, I think of laughter and giggles and smiling until your jaw starts to hurt. But I also think of feeling safe enough to cry, to feel our feelings without shame or judgment, to have a shoulder to lean on during hard times. When I think of love, I think of being there for others and lending our shoulder for them to lean on. Honestly, opportunities to love and be loved can show up in so many different ways, small and big, throughout our days. But the question that we must be willing to ask ourselves is, are we able to see it? Because I think the media, Hollywood, Bollywood, and Disney have given us a distorted definition of what love is. And they've created this false belief that true love is synonymous with romantic Romeo and Juliet-like stories. They've made love synonymous with super grand and sometimes unrealistic gestures. They've taken love out of the small things that, when accumulated together, actually, in my opinion, is really deep, profound love. And I think social media has exacerbated this issue too, because when I think of Valentine's Day, for example, for many it turns into this competition of who gets the more gifts and whose flower bouquet is bigger. And that can really hurt both the relationship we have with our significant other and the relationship we have with ourselves. Why? Because we either want to show our own experience to the world on social media, and it better be a good photo, otherwise we're mad at our significant partner for not doing more, for not doing better. Or we're sad because we're comparing ourselves and our situation to content that has already been posted on social media. And so we're feeling like we're not enough or we don't have enough. And in those moments of comparison and competition, we lose our opportunity to acknowledge and appreciate the smaller day-to-day blessings that exist, to connect to our partners at a deeper level, to nurture the love that already exists. Which brings me to my next point, and that is that love is a verb. Love is a choice. When couples start working with me in one of our first sessions, I explained to them that the hallmark of a healthy relationship is the ability to cultivate a culture of appreciation. So I leave them with homework containing 2 parts. Part 1 is to notice each other's efforts and to express appreciation often for even the smallest gestures. Thank you for grabbing that bottle of water for me. Thank you for helping me with dinner prep. And the other is to notice each other's strengths and to mention them. So you handle that situation with so much grace and patience. I admire your ability to remain calm and find a solution. These habits can really help bring 2 people closer to one another as it increases their feeling of being valued, appreciated, and ultimately loved in the dynamic. And the good news is that these tools don't only apply to romantic relationships. You can practice them in any dynamic and it will cultivate love and respect. In fact, some platonic friendships become the most powerful mediums for us to experience deep love. The type of love that makes you feel like you're worthy of all the beautiful things in the world. The type of love that validates your feelings. The type of love that inspires you to dream big and actually makes it feel like it's possible for you to accomplish it. One of my biggest blessings that I express gratitude for every single day are my soul sisters who have elevated my experience of reality from the moment that they entered my life. But this hasn't always been my experience. I've always been a social kid, so I always had a lot of friends growing up. My dad is super social, so I always saw him, making time for his friends and putting in the effort to cultivate those friendships. So that got imprinted in my subconscious mind from a young age. But somewhere along my journey as a child, I had certain experiences and my fair share of heartbreak and friendships that kind of brought my walls up. And I noticed that as I got a little bit older, those memories and those past experiences kind of prevented me from allowing people in. So while I had a lot of people around me, I didn't really allow them in fully in. So I didn't get to experience all the benefits and blessings of true friendship. But when I started therapy at the age of, I believe, 16, 17, and by the way, for the first 2 years, I didn't even let my therapist in. But as I started doing the work and after having a near-death experience, something shifted inside of me that allowed me to bring down my guards a little bit. I want to emphasize on the a little bit part because if we try to do too much too soon, it might feel really overwhelming and have the actual opposite result. So my walls started to come down a little bit, and it reminds me of a beautiful poem by Rumi where he quotes that the wound is where the light enters you, and that was definitely the case for me. Those wounds allowed me to bring in the light, to heal, and to grow. This did not mean that I did not practice discernment when it came to allowing people in, but at least the option of allowing people in was now active. Manifesting love, in my opinion, is becoming aware of the barriers that we have built within ourselves that are preventing us from letting people in. Those wounds, as valid as they are, need to be recognized. They need to be healed so that we can allow ourselves the opportunity to experience an expansive and deep love once again. Whether that's love in our friendships, in our romantic relationships with our family members, whatever dynamic there is. That willingness, that openness to feel that love again, to tap into its vibration, is what I hope we allow ourselves to experience. And let's not forget self-love. Many say that we need to love ourselves for others to love us. And while I agree that the way we treat ourselves can set the precedent for how others treat us, for many who grew up believing that they're not lovable, this advice not only doesn't serve them, but also makes them feel like they're stuck. And to those people, I'm here to tell you that safe, loving relationships can serve as powerful mediums for us to see the love that exists within us, because it does exist. And when someone else sees that, we heal those parts of us that don't feel lovable when people see that love within us. So self-love can really flourish in safe, loving relationships. That's the power of relationships. That's the power of healthy, safe relationships. So we're going to be diving deep into all of these concepts inside the program. So if this is something that interests you, I highly suggest enrolling. We start on July 2nd. And I'd like to end this episode with a quote by George Sand. There is only one happiness in this life: to love and be loved. When I hear this, I think of community. I think of safe containers of growth. And I think of the fact that love is our core essence. And the analogy I like to use is imagining love as the electricity in the socket. It's always there. And it's our choice to plug ourselves in and reap its benefits, or unplug ourselves and disconnect from the light. So I leave you with this. May we all have the courage to plug ourselves in as often as possible so that we can feel and experience our true light. Sending you lots and lots of love. Speak soon.
Thank you for joining us this week on Minutes on Growth. If you enjoyed today's episode, then make sure you never miss a show by clicking the subscribe button now.